I died on May 25, 1948. I was 46 years old. They shot me in the back of the head in a Warsaw prison basement. The men who killed me were Polish, and I had spent 8 years trying to save Poland for them, September 1940. The Germans had been occupying Warsaw for a year. We knew about the camp they were building outside Krakow. We knew people were going in. We knew almost nothing was coming out. My commanders needed someone inside, someone who could organize resistance, document what was happening, smuggle reports back to London, someone who would volunteer to be arrested, to walk through those gates on purpose. They didn't order anyone to go. You couldn't order a man to do that. You could only ask. I said yes before they finished asking. My wife was home. My children were asleep. I didn't tell them where I was going. I didn't know if I was coming back. I walked out of the apartment and I didn't look back because if I looked back, I knew what would happen. What I'm about to tell you stayed classified for decades. The reports I smuggled out of that camp, the first eyewitness accounts of what was happening inside, reached London in 1941. The Allies read them and did nothing. I spent 2.5 years inside the worst place in human history. I built a resistance organization inside the wire. I kept records. I kept count. And when I finally escaped, when I finally got out, what happened next is the part that will stay with you. September 19th, 1940, Warsaw. A German street roundup. They did them constantly, sweeping blocks, loading men onto trucks. I walked into one on purpose. I stood in the street and I let them take me. They loaded us into a truck. I'm thinking, this is the last moment of the world I know. The street outside the truck is Warsaw in autumn, leaves on the ground, a woman watching from a window above a bakery. I fix that image because I understand I may need it later, something to hold onto in the dark. They processed us at a transit prison. They gave me a number. From that moment, I was not a name. I was 4859. The gates at Auschwitz opened on September 22, 1940. I walked through them with 1,700 other men. I remember the sound of the gate, the specific metallic sound of it closing behind us. I remember thinking, the sound is the last honest thing. Everything from here is survival and deception. The first weeks are about not dying from the obvious things, exhaustion, beatings, the cold that in November becomes something with intention, something that wants specifically you. Men around me are disappearing in the night. I'm counting. I'm always counting. Every number I memorize is a report. Every fact is a weapon I'm building in my head because I have nowhere else to put it. I start organizing in the first month, quietly, one man at a time, a whispered conversation in a work detail, a name passed through a look. You build trust the way you build a fire in the rain, slowly, carefully, shielding it with your body, knowing one wrong move puts it out entirely. By 1941, I have a network inside the camp. We call it the Union of Military Organizations. We share food. We protect each other on work details. We move information to the edges of the wire and out. I am writing reports in my head constantly, numbers, methods, locations, and encoding them into letters, into objects, into the hands of men who are leaving. The reports reach Warsaw. Warsaw encodes them. They reach London by 1941. London reads them. The Allies read them. The first eyewitness documentation of systematic mass murder in human history lands on desks in England and America. And the bombing raids on the rail lines never come. I'm thinking about that still. I will think about it for the rest of my life, which is not very long. I need you to understand what the counting means. When I say I kept records, I mean I watched. I watched everything and I held it and I converted it into language because language was the only weapon available to me and I had chosen to be here and I was going to use every second of it. By the time I escape, I have documented the murder of hundreds of thousands of people. I have names. I have methods. I have the specific bureaucratic language the Germans use for the specific things they are doing, and I have translated it into Polish and encoded it into invisible ink, and passed it through the wire in the soles of boots and the lining of coats. The hardest part is not the violence. The hardest part is the arithmetic. Every morning, standing at roll call in the dark, counting. Every evening, counting again. The numbers going one direction and the smoke going another, and you standing between them, counting, translating, holding it all in your head, because if you put it down, someone finds it and everyone dies. I get sick with typhus in 1942. I survive. I don't know why I survive when the men around me don't. I stop asking because the question has no useful answer and I have work to do. April 26, 1943. 2.5 years inside the wire. My network is intact. My reports are reaching London. But I have calculated that the rescue operation I have been organizing from inside. I have been waiting 2 years for the home army to breach the wire from outside, is not coming. I understand now it was never coming. So I go. 3 of us, a bakery work detail. We overpower the guards at a moment we have been watching for 6 weeks. We cut a phone line. We run. I run through Polish fields in the dark, and I'm thinking, I have been inside that place for 2.5 years and my legs still work, and the air outside the wire is the same air as the air inside the wire, and I cannot understand why it feels completely different. I reach the forest. I stop running. I stand in Polish trees in the dark and I breathe. I have 923 pages of documentation in my head. I fought in the Warsaw uprising in 1944. I watched the city burn. I watched the Allies watch the city burn. After the war, the communists came, the same men I had fought to free Poland for. They arrested me in 1947. They charged me with espionage. They tortured me for months trying to get me to confess to things I had not done. I refused. People ask if I regret walking into that camp. If I would do it again knowing what was waiting, the typhus, the counting, the smoke, the arithmetic that never ends, the bullet they put in the back of my head in that basement in 1948. Every time I find the same answer. I walked in because someone had to. Because the truth was happening behind that wire and the world needed to know it. And knowing it was worth more than my comfort and more than my life. They erased my name for 40 years. They classified my files. They tried to make me not have existed. I existed, I counted, I got the count out. That is enough. If my story hits you, please don't forget to subscribe this channel and like this video. Till next video, be safe, stay happy.